Send button.
Hi, hello, namaste. This is Ramarao. You're watching Ramarao Damaraju YouTube channel. Please do subscribe my channel, like, comment, and share. Friends, with the help of humanity organization, I am giving information regarding groups in my channel. I thank humanity organization for giving me this opportunity to post these kind of videos in my channel. Thank you so much. If I talk about humanity organization, they are working for visual impaired persons. They are doing in 13 countries across the world. They are providing scribes for visual impaired. They are giving audio materials. They are giving study materials. They can provide you at in any language like English, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, etc. with free of cost. They are not even expecting single paisa. So friends, encourage humanity organization and also my channel. Do subscribe my channel, like, comment, share. Thank you.
Send.
Chapter 2 Rights in the Indian Constitution Introduction A constitution is not only about the composition of the various organs of government and the relations among them. As we studied in the last chapter, the constitution is a document that sets limit on the powers of the government and ensures a democratic system in which all persons enjoy certain rights. In this chapter, we shall study the fundamental rights contained in the Indian Constitution. Part 3 of the Constitution of India lists the fundamental rights and also mentions the limit on these rights. In the past 6 decades, the scope of rights has changed and in some respects expanded. After studying this chapter, you would know what are the various fundamental rights listed in the Constitution of India, how these rights are protected, what role the judiciary has played in protecting and interpreting these rights, and what is the difference between the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy. The importance of rights. In 1982, during the construction work of Asian Games, the government engaged a few contractors. These contractors employed a large number of very poor construction workers from different parts of the country to build the flyovers and stadiums. These workers were kept in poor working conditions and were paid less than the minimum wages decided by the government. A team of social scientists studied their poor condition and petitioned the Supreme Court. They argued that employing a person to work for less than minimum prescribed wage amounts to beggar or forced labor, which is a violation of the fundamental right against exploitation. The court accepted this plea and directed the government to ensure that thousands of workers get the prescribed wages for their work. Michael Yalong was 23 when he was arrested. A resident of Chuburi village of Moregaon district of Assam, Michael was charged of causing grievous injuries. He was found mentally too unstable to stand trial and was sent as under trial to Lokpriya Gopinath Bordoloi Mental Hospital in Tejpur for treatment. Mackle was treated successfully and doctors wrote twice to jail authorities in 1967 and 1996 that he was fit to stand trial. But no one paid any attention. Mackle Lalong remained in judicial custody. Mackle Lalong was released in July 2005. He was 77 then. He spent 54 years under custody during which his case never came up for hearing. He was freed when a team appointed by the National Human Rights Commission intervened after inspection of under trials in the state. Mackle's entire life was wasted because a proper trial against him never took place. Our Constitution gives every citizen the right to life and liberty. This means that every citizen must also have the right to fair and speedy trial. Mackle's case shows what happens when rights granted by the Constitution are not available in practice. In the case of the first instance also there was a violation of rights provided in the Constitution, but it was challenged in the court. As a result, workers could get what was due to them in the form of their rightful wages. The constitutional guarantee of the right against exploitation ensured justice to these workers. Bill of Rights. Both these examples show the importance of having rights and of the actual implementation of these rights. A democracy must ensure that individuals have certain rights and that the government will always recognize these rights. Therefore, it is often a practice in most democratic countries to list the rights of the citizens in the Constitution itself. Such a list of rights mentioned and protected by the Constitution is called the Bill of Rights. A Bill of Rights prohibits government from thus acting against the rights of the individuals and ensures a remedy in case there is violation of these rights. From whom does a constitution protect the rights of the individual? The right of a person may be threatened by another person or private organization. In such a situation, the individual would need the protection of the government. So, it is necessary that the government is bound to protect these rights of the individual. On the other hand, the organs of the government, the legislature, executive, bureaucracy, or even the judiciary, in the course of their functioning may violate the rights of the person. Fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. During our freedom struggle, the leaders of the freedom movement had realized the importance of rights and demanded that the British rulers should respect rights of the people. The Motilal Nehru Committee had demanded a Bill of Rights as far back as in 1928. It was therefore natural that when India became independent and the constitution was being prepared, there were no two opinions on the inclusion and protection of Rights in the Constitution. The Constitution listed the rights that would be specially protected and called them fundamental rights. The word fundamental suggests that these rights are so important that the Constitution has separately listed them and made special provisions for their protection. The fundamental rights are so important that the Constitution itself ensures that they are not violated by the government. Fundamental rights are different from other rights available to us. While ordinary legal rights are protected and enforced by ordinary law, fundamental rights are protected and guaranteed by the Constitution of the country. Ordinary rights may be changed by the legislature by ordinary process of law making, but a fundamental right may only be changed by amending the Constitution itself. Besides these, no organ of the government can act in a manner that violates them. As we shall study below in this chapter, judiciary has the powers and responsibility to protect the fundamental rights from violations by the actions of the government. Executive as well as legislative actions can be declared illegal by the judiciary if these violate the fundamental rights or restrict them in an unreasonable manner. However, fundamental rights are not absolute or unlimited rights. Government can put reasonable restrictions on the exercise of our fundamental rights. Bill of Rights in the South African Constitution. The South African Constitution was inaugurated INAUGURATED in December 1996. Its creation and promulgation PROMULGATION took place at a time when South Africa still faced the threat of civil war after the dissolution DISSOLUTION of the apartheid government. Apartheid, APARTHEID. The South African Constitution says that its Bill of Rights is a cornerstone of democracy in South Africa. It forbids discrimination on the grounds of race, gender, pregnancy, marital status, ethnic or social origin, color, age, disability, religion, conscience, CONSCIENCE, belief, culture, language, and birth. It grants perhaps the most extensive range of rights to the citizens. A special constitutional court enforces the rights enshrined ENSHRINED in the Constitution. Some of the rights included in the Constitution of South Africa include: first, right to dignity; second, right to privacy; third, right to fair labor practices; fourth, right to healthy environment and right to protection of environment; fifth, right to educate, right to adequate housing; sixth, right to health care, food, water, and social security; seventh, children's rights; 8th, right to basic and higher education. 9th, right of cultural, religious, and linguistic communities. 10th, right to information. Check your progress. Compare the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution with the Bill of Rights in the South African Constitution. Make a list of rights that are: first, common to both the constitutions; second, available in South Africa but not in India; third, clearly granted in South Africa but implicit in the Indian Constitution. In detail, right to equality. Consider the following two situations. These are imaginary situations, but similar things do happen and can happen. Do you think they involve violation of fundamental rights? First, Swadesh Kumar is visiting his village. He is accompanied by one of his friends. They decided to have a cup of tea at the village roadside hotel. The shopkeeper knew Swadesh Kumar but asked the name of his friend to know his caste. After this the shopkeeper served tea to Swadesh Kumar in a nice mug, while his friend was given tea in an earthen cup because he was Dalit. Second, an order is served to four newsreaders of a television channel that they would no longer read the news on screen. They are all women. The reason given is that they are above the age of 45. Two male newsreaders above the same age are not barred from representing the news. These are examples of clear discrimination. In one instance, the discrimination is based on caste and in another it is based on gender. Do you think that such discrimination is justified? Right to equality tries to do away with such other discriminations. It provides for equal access to public places like shops, hotels, places of entertainment, wells, bathing ghats, and places of worship. There cannot be any discrimination in this access on the grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. It also prohibits any discrimination in public employment on any of the above mentioned bases. This right is very important because our society did not practice equal access in the past. The practice of untouchability is one of the crudest manifestations of inequality. Crudest, crudest, manifestations, manifestations. This has been abolished under the right to equality. The same right also provides that the state shall confer no title on a person except those who excel themselves in military or academic field. Thus, right to equality strives to make India a true democracy by ensuring a sense of equality of dignity and status among all citizens. Have you read the preamble to our Constitution? How does it describe equality? You will find that the preamble mentions two things about equality. First, equality of status, and second, equality of opportunity. Equality of opportunity means that all sections of the society enjoy equal opportunities. But in a society where there are various kinds of social inequalities, what does equal opportunity mean? The Constitution clarifies that the government can implement special schemes and measures for improving the conditions of certain sections of society, like children, women, and the socially and educationally backward classes. You may have heard about reservations in jobs and in admissions. You would have wondered why there are reservations if we follow the principle of equality. In fact, Article 16(4) of the Constitution explicitly clarifies that a policy like reservation will not be seen as a violation of right to equality. If you see the spirit of the Constitution, this is required for the fulfillment of the right to equality of opportunity. Article 16(4) states, "Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provision for the reservation of appointments or posts in favor of any backward class of citizens which, in the opinion of the state, is not adequately represented in the services under the state." You are the judge. You have received a postcard from Haribandhu, who identifies himself as a member of the Dalit community in Puri district in Odisha. Men from this community refused to follow a custom that required them to wash the feet of the groom and guests of the upper caste during marriage ceremonies. In revenge, 4 women from this community were beaten up and another was paraded naked. Paraded, Paraded. The postcard writer says, "Our children are educated and they are not willing to do the customary job of washing the feet of the upper caste men, clear the leftovers of the marriage feast and wash the utensils." Assuming that the facts given above are correct, you have to decide, first, does this case involve a violation of fundamental rights? What would you order the government to do in this case? Article 21. Protection of life and personal liberty. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. Deprived, Deprived. Right to freedom. Equality and freedom or liberty are the two rights that are most essential to a democracy. It is not possible to think of the one without thinking of the other. Liberty means freedom of thought, expression, and action. However, it does not mean freedom to do anything that one desires or likes. If that were to be permitted, then a large number of people would not be able to enjoy their freedom. Therefore, freedom are defined in such a manner that every person will enjoy her freedom without threatening freedom of others and without endangering the law and order situation. Threatening, threatening, endangering, endangering. Right to life and personal liberty. The foremost right among rights to freedom is the right to life and personal liberty. No citizen can be denied his or her life except by procedure as laid down under the law. Similarly, no one can be denied his or her personal liberty. That means no one can be arrested without being told the grounds for such an arrest. If arrested, the person has the right to defend himself by a lawyer of his choice. Also, it is mandatory for the police to take that person to the nearest magistrate within 24 hours. The magistrate who is not part of the police will decide whether the arrest is justified or not. This right is not just confined to a guarantee against taking away of an individual's life but has wider application. Various judgments of Supreme Court have expanded the scope of this right. The Supreme Court has ruled that this right also includes right to live with human dignity, free from exploitation. Exploitation, exploitation. The court has held that right to shelter and livelihood is also included in the right to life because no person can live without the means of living, that is, the means of livelihood.